Okay, so have you seen this whole back and forth between Elon Musk and Peter Navarro?
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
hard to miss. Kind of blowing up all over the place.
Right. It's like everywhere you look online, someone's talking about it.
Yeah.
And, on the surface, it seems like just another, one of those celebrity Twitter feuds.
Yeah, you get these two big personalities just going at it.
But what's interesting to me is that, like, underneath all the name calling and the insults, there's actually this, like, really important debate going on about the economy, about how we make things here.
Oh, absolutely. And who we trade with and all those sort of, core economic policy questions.
Exactly. So, we're not really interested in just the drama of it all. We want to, like, actually dig into the substance of what they're arguing about.
Right. Because it does touch on some really, fundamental issues that I think are relevant to a lot of people.
Absolutely. So for this deep dive, you sent over this transcript of a YouTube video. And I got to say, this video does a really good job of, like, breaking down the whole back and forth.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty insightful, too. Kind of cuts through the noise and gets to the heart of it.
Exactly. So we're going to use that transcript as our main source here to sort of, guide our conversation.
Sounds good.
And just to be super clear, we're not here to take sides or say who's right or wrong.
Right. We're just trying to, like, analyze what they said and, look at the information that's out there.
Exactly. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. It seems like this whole thing started with a statement from Peter Navarro, right?
Right. As far as I can tell from the video, it seems like the first shot was Navarro basically dismissing Elon Musk as just a car assembler.
Like, he's not a real manufacturer.
Right. And his argument seems to be that Musk opposes tariffs because Tesla imports a bunch of its parts. And the video host does acknowledge that, there's truth to that. Like, Tesla does source some of its components from overseas.
But, I mean, come on, car assembler. That's kind of a loaded term, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. It's definitely meant to be a bit of a dig,
Yeah.
but I think it does point to a bigger issue, which is that a lot of manufacturing today, especially in the auto industry, it's so globalized.
Right.
You've got these complex supply chains with parts being made all over the world and then assembled somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty rare to find a company that makes everything 100% domestically.
Okay, so that's Navarro's side of things. Now let's talk about Musk's reaction, which was, let's just say, pretty explosive.
Yeah, he did not hold back.
The transcript actually quotes his tweets verbatim, and it's kind of amazing. He calls Navarro a moron and dumber than a sack of bricks.
I mean, it definitely shows how, heated things can get on social media, especially when you've got these really prominent figures with huge followings.
For sure. It's like a whole different level of debate. But, beyond just the name calling, Musk also makes some very specific counter arguments about Tesla's manufacturing process.
Right. And those are worth examining closely.
Yeah. So in one tweet, he says, and I'm quoting this directly, Navarro is truly a moron. What he says here is demonstrably false. Tesla has the most American-made cars. Navarro is dumber than a sack of bricks.
Like, wow, strong words, right?
Definitely. And then he follows up with this other tweet where he says, by any definition whatsoever, Tesla is the most vertically integrated auto manufacturer in America with the highest percentage of U.S. content.
So he's really doubling down on this idea that Tesla is making their cars here in the U.S.
Yeah, and not only that, he throws in this little jab about Navarro's supposed fake expert, Ron Vara.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other can of worms. The video transcript actually explains that Ron Vara is like this fictional economic expert that Navarro apparently made up.
He made up a person.
Yeah, apparently.
Right.
And he cited this Ron Vara in his books to support his arguments about tariffs. It's like something out of a movie or something.
That's wild. And the video mentions that Rachel Maddow did a whole segment on this Ron Vara thing a while back.
Right. So when Musk brings it up, he's basically trying to say, like, look, this guy's not even credible. He's making stuff up.
Right. So he's trying to undermine Navarro's whole argument by saying he's relying on fake experts.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's get back to Musk's main claim about Tesla being the most American-made car company. He uses some pretty strong language there, Most American-made cars, highest percentage of U.S. content. He even calls Navarro's statement demonstrably false.
Right. He's really adamant about it. But here's where things get a little bit murky.
Okay.
Because while Musk is making these absolute statements, the video transcript actually presents a different picture based on some estimates they found. They say that roughly 40 to 50% of the value of Tesla's components actually comes from the U.S.
So not 100%.
Right. And on top of that, the video points out that about 25% of the parts come from Canada and then the rest from Mexico and other countries.
So it's not quite as simple as Musk makes it sound.
Exactly. And the video host actually makes a really interesting point about this. They say that if Tesla truly had 100% American-made components, you'd think Musk would just say that straight up, instead of using this phrase, highest percentage, which is a little bit vaguer.
That's a good point.
It suggests that maybe their U.S. content is high relative to some other car makers, but it's definitely not 100%.
Right. And I guess that means that Navarro's original point about Tesla importing parts, while maybe, a little bit dismissive, it's not entirely wrong either.
Yeah, I mean, they do rely on a global supply chain like many other companies.
Okay, so the video host also offers another interesting take on this whole thing. They suggest that Musk's reaction might be so strong partly because of, all the stuff Tesla's been going through lately.
Right. They mention things like tariffs and stock market fluctuations and even some boycotts.
Yeah, and they point out that while Musk has generally been supportive of Trump in the past, maybe he's now feeling the effects of some of those trade policies that were put in place during the Trump administration.
Yeah. And, Navarro was like the architect of those policies.
Exactly. So maybe Musk is kind of directing his frustration at Navarro instead of directly at Trump.
It's possible.
And the video host also has this kind of funny line about how Musk is using all these fancy-sounding words that mean nothing, like vertically integrated.
Yeah.
But then they admit that his claim about U.S. content is actually more helpful because it's more specific.
Right. And it's a good reminder that sometimes business jargon can be used to obscure things rather than clarify them.
Totally. Okay. And, just to be super clear here, we're not trying to take sides or endorse any particular viewpoint. We're just laying out the arguments as they're presented in the video.
Right. Our goal is to be impartial and just analyze the information that's out there.
Exactly. So let's recap what we've covered. This whole thing started with Navarro kind of dissing Musk as a car assembler. Musk shot back with some pretty harsh insults and claimed that Tesla has the most American-made cars and the highest percentage of U.S. content. He also brought up that whole Ron Vera situation to question Navarro's credibility. But when we look closer at the data, it seems like Tesla's U.S. content is significant, but it's not 100%. And the video host suggested that Musk's reaction might be influenced by some of the challenges Tesla's been facing lately.
Right. And I think this whole episode really highlights how complex global manufacturing is these days.
Yeah.
It's hard to just slap a label on something and say it's American-made because so many products have parts from all over the world.
For sure. And it also shows how these debates about economic policy can get really heated, especially on social media.
Absolutely.
So that kind of leads us to a bigger question for, everyone listening. Think about how much influence these public figures have on how we understand these really complicated economic issues. Like, how important is it for us to actually fact check what they're saying and not just take their word for it?
Yeah.
And in a world where supply chains are so global, what does it even mean for something to be American-made anyway? It's something to think about.
Definitely food for thought.
Okay. That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.